Alright, meet Tob. He's your typical school kid, not a fan of books, but totally hooked on video games. So much so, he and his friends even game during class. Our guy wins cash playing games, but here's the kicker: he snags the old butler's credit card, then connects it to his game, right after a huge win. He immediately drops the cash on a shiny new car. Of course, the moment he rolls up to school in his sweet ride, he's instantly called to the office. So his teacher's ready to call home, but he's like, "Whoa, hold up, just dock my merits instead." Plot twist. Turns out, he's basically run out of merits to lose. But he doesn't quit, offering to just pay for the new school sign himself. His teacher, however, is having none of it, totally shutting down the bribe. Shay's totally fed up, wondering why he can't be more like his siblings and just be a normal, graduating student. His teacher gives him one last lecture, admitting he's actually worried about how the kid will ever make a living. Finally let go, he steps outside to find every single student gathered around his car, totally blown away and staring in awe. Our guy totally blows off the fam, snags his girlfriend, buys her some grub, and they hit the streets in his flashy new car. He finally rolls in super late, leaves the ride for the butler, and tries to ninja his way inside without waking his parents. Butler, not a car guy, accidentally sets off the alarm, making him jump. He heads inside, only to find his parents already waiting for him by the stairs. Tob rolls in super late, car in tow, and his dad completely flips out. He warns if Tob keeps blowing their cash like this, the family will be totally broke and bankrupt. Tob tries to explain it's his hard-earned online gaming cash, but his dad is not having it. He shuts him down, demanding he buckle up and study or face serious consequences, then storms out. Mom steps in, gently reminding him they just want him to focus and not worry them. She leaves, and years later, his gaming addiction is still going strong. Time for uni though, which means real life is about to hit. He bombs out of university admissions, but does he get serious? Nope. Immediately, he's off buying a PlayStation and DVD player just to keep gaming. He gets back home with his new purchase, only to be ambushed by his parents asking about university. So, the kid gets into this private uni, right, and it's actually not even super pricey. But dad's like, "Nah, community college for you. You're just gonna slack off, and we are not wasting our cash on that." Tob's like, "I'm money, I'll pay for myself." But his mom's not having it. She chases down his dad, trying to get him to approve Tob going to a private university instead. With his parents fighting, he ducks into his room for some gaming, only to find his account totally wiped. So, back at the electronics store, he grabs a bunch of discounted DVDs instead. Tob finally gets home, stoked to show off his new DVD players to his parents. But oof, one breaks before he even sells or uses it. He hurries back, only for the shopkeeper to basically shrug. Turns out, no warranty, no returns, that's why they were so cheap. He then tells Tob everyone knows that, and to just throw the whole mess away. He goes full rage mode, shattering a mirror table. The shopkeeper dishes out a slap, but he books it before getting totally wrecked. Heading home, he picks up his dad. Dad immediately drops some wisdom: doing business is no walk in the park, and that's just the way the world turns. Dad tries to buy Tob's obedience with study money, but when Tob fires back, reminding him has no employee, Dad immediately yanks the cash. So, Tob, out of options, swipes his dad's precious amulet, hits up the local pawn shop, and cashes it in for a cool 100,000. He gets to school with the money, but classic him, has still not taking it seriously and just keeps ditching class. He swings by the auditorium, only to find his girlfriend totally absorbed in drama rehearsal. She finally chats him up, but a date is a hard no. Her reason: classes, then more drama practice. Yeah, Shez completely slammed. Our guy hits up this wild market overflowing with all sorts of crazy machines, and bonus, there's free food to sample whatever they're churning out. He instantly tunes in when someone starts hyping up a chestnut-making contraption. Get this, it's supposedly the very first one in the whole country, fresh off the boat, imported all the way from Japan. Tob totally digs this thing and shells out big bucks for it, convinced he's scoring major points by being the first to own one. But his triumphant return home quickly sours when his dad sees it. Cue the lecture. Pops is fuming, pointing out Tob could have snagged the exact same item for way less at any weekend market. So, the very next day, our guy's after-school plans involve grilling an old chestnut vendor for all his secrets. He then goes full detective, hitting up anyone and everyone he can find to learn more. He takes all those tips home, desperate to make perfect chestnuts. First batch done. Guess who's the designated guinea pig? His butler. He brings it to Mom, who's totally obsessed. With Dad tied up in a meeting, they just keep happily munching on those chestnuts. His friend is like, "These chestnuts are amazing, where'd you get them?" Has like, "Tob roasted them." Friend's impressed with Tob's hustle. Next thing you know, he snags a prime mall spot to set up his very own chestnut stand. That corner's a hot spot for all kinds of eats. On day one, our guy and his butler, Twang, team up and get straight to work. Tob asks why sales are terrible. The old man admits he can't yell like the other vendors, explaining he just doesn't have the energy he used to. Tob's like, time to sell this, so they went all out, getting super loud and repetitive. They basically just started yelling and flailing their arms to get people to come over. So, he hits up a local market for some new threads and bumps into his girlfriend. They chat, and she drops the bomb her acting gig pays $0. Naturally, he has totally floored by this injustice and calls it out as super unfair. Right in the middle of their chat, his butler calls him up with a major bummer business is totally dead today, even though every other shop nearby is absolutely slammed. He comes back, and she's immediately suspicious, demanding, "Who are you talking to?" He quickly dismisses it, "Just Twang, nothing to worry about, seriously." But then Tob watches others getting donations, and boom, a clever idea hits him. Tob swings back around, wanting to move his stall, but the organizers immediately shut him down. He tries to just bail, but they're like, "Sure, hit the road, but no refund for you. It was all in the contract, clear as day, buddy." So the manager's like, "Hey, a spot opens up next month, but you gotta sign today to snag it." He totally sweetens the deal by saying it's prime real estate, so our guy will be rolling in cash and make back his rent super fast. Tob's just trying to nail his exam when his phone in his back pocket starts ringing non-stop. He tries to ignore it, but the constant buzzing is driving him crazy, so he eventually just pulls it out. His teacher lays down the law one phone touch, and he's getting reported for cheating. Our guy barely flinches. He just grabs his bag and phone, then struts right out of the classroom. Major mic drop. So, after that call, our guy practically sprints to the mall, chestnuts in tow. And boom, his new stall is packed on day one, has totally hyped, telling the old man they should open more locations, but the old guy just tells him to pump the brakes. But Tob's not giving up, opening another spot. His girlfriend shows up though and drops the bombshell thereover. Turns out she's fed up with his secrecy, and she only found out about his whole hustle from someone else. She's worried sick about his future. He calls his friend who totally spilled the beans, but his friend claims she only talked because she thought Tob was cheating. Talk about a misunderstanding. So, at the mall, the manager lays it out. Tob's smoke is legit, turning the ceiling straight up yellow. He warns if Tob can't fix it, his contract's getting canceled. But Tob, cool as ever, just promises he'll handle it. So, with old man Twang pitching in, he's painting the entire ceiling. And get this, they make him do it after hours so shoppers aren't disturbed. Nights, he's up there painting the ceiling with his mom, but just as he's got a tiny bit left, security rolls in, kicks him out, cause his time's totally up. Tob tries to buy himself some time, literally, by offering a few measly bucks to the security guard. But it's a hard no. The officer hands it right back and tells his mom to get him in line before promptly kicking them out. Mom's ready to peace out, telling him to just get a passport tomorrow, but Tob's got that main character energy. He's totally convinced he'll fix everything by morning. But then his mom drops the bombshell they're packing up for China because his siblings are drowning in debt. He totally loses it, furious that as part of the family, he was completely blindsided by such a massive life change. Furious, he confronts his mom about their debt. Good news, his chestnut business is absolutely killing it, and he's convinced he can pay it all off. Mom's in tears, pleading with him to just come along so they can at least be together. But then, while getting his passport photos taken, he totally stops the process, announcing to his shocked parents he's staying right here to live and study. He tells his dad he's ready to work for him, hoping for money to study. Instead, his parents just pack up and move to China, leaving him in the dust. At the airport, Dad tells him to ditch the chestnuts and get to school, but the next morning, he's right back at the mall, determined to finish painting that ceiling. The manager drops the bomb he can't keep his stalls and needs to pack up every last branch. Later, while he's just chilling, he spots some ladies huddled by his front door. When he finally gets outside to check, his heart sinks. It's an official bankruptcy notice from the court. Talk about a bad day. He snatches it from the door, straight into the trash. Next thing you know, he's running into his girlfriend while chilling at the market. He hugs her, bursting into tears. She tells him to ditch the chestnut hustle, hit the books, and she'll help him with school. He's totally on board, so they just chill in the car, munching on her homemade fried seaweed. His next bright idea, seaweed. To fund that, he's immediately at the bank trying to land a loan. Initially, the bank shuts him down way too many loan applications, but he begs for a chance to tell his story. Annoyed, the manager finally relents, giving him just one shot to convince him. The pressure's on. Tob tells the guy everything. even showing off the scar he got from trying to fry seaweed. He had a ton of seaweed, but oops, it spoiled. So he enrolled in food science school, told them his tragic tale, and they hooked him up with a game-changing tip vacuum packing. No more stale snacks for this guy. Back from the bank, he buys tons of seaweed. He and Tobe then fry it, trying to find that perfect crisp, and his story, oh, it just keeps on going. Tobe obsessively checks, tweaks, and retweaks the seaweed, desperate for perfection. But after exhausting all options, it's a big nope. Time for a seaweed resupply, because they're definitely not there yet. Tobe promises to buy more, literally selling his computers and old gadgets to fund it. But he soon gets super discouraged, feeling they've wasted a ton of cash and wants to quit. However, he's quickly reminded they can't give up. They just need to nail it once, and they'll make all that money back in no time. Suddenly, his girlfriend calls, reminding him it's registration's last day. He rushes over, just making it in time to sign up for all his classes and not miss out. He rolls up later that rainy night, seaweed boxes in tow, needs more fried goodness, so he calls Twong but gets nothing but dead silence. He heads back for Twong, only to find him out cold, head bleeding. Tobe rushes his uncle to the hospital and now is just in the waiting room, clutching a packet, praying for good news. Luckily, Twong's totally fine and heading home soon, but first he's forced to try his weird fried seaweed. Fortunately, their seaweed finally gets the green light to sell. They restart the business, and surprisingly, this time their seaweed venture truly takes off on a good note. Tobe's mom calls on his birthday, but the real shocker, his dad wants a word with him. So his dad's all, dude, hit the books China next semester, and get this, Pops already snagged the tickets and says he's sending them over. Talk about pushy. Tobe pushes his dad to spill the truth about the debt. Dad's reluctant, but eventually he spills. As if owing $40 million wasn't enough to send him into shock, he gets home to find another notice plastered right onto his house. Seriously. Lost and moping, he just wanders the streets, constantly glued to the radio, but no matter how much he tunes in, he gets zero helpful info back. Finally, he hears about 7-Eleven, a massive company buying and selling products everywhere, so he rolls up with his seaweed and just waits for his name to be called. He literally practiced his big speech in the bathroom, then completely forgot his name at reception. Director walks in and she's immediately like, just drop your product, I've got a meeting in 10. But he's not having it, insisting 10 minutes is all I need, I came to present this. Bummer for our guy, the director trashes his product, too many flaws and way too expensive. But before she bounces, she hits him with some wisdom. Most sales actually start in urban areas, then blow up in the big cities. When he finally gets back, his girlfriend's there, immediately asking why he's so quiet. She tells him she'll help him with literally anything, no matter what. But he totally loses it and picks a fight, then just locks his girlfriend out, leaving her stranded outside. He slumps down with Twong, instantly tearing up. He confesses he's a total jerk for snapping at his girlfriend, especially when she was only trying to help him. Twong tells himself to chill, that'll be fine. So, first thing next morning, he's already redesigning his packages for a fresh start. So has back at the 7-Eleven, waiting all day, but the director's a total no-show. Crushed, he just hands his entire seaweed stash to a confused security guard on his way out. Outside the company, he slumps at a bus stop, dialing his mom. He admits nothing's working, and his product just keeps getting shot down. His seaweed snacks are a massive hit, popping up all over the office and getting rave reviews. Soon, the company calls his products approved, and he is absolutely thrilled. So, they hit him with the big news he's got to deliver his stuff to 3,000 branches. The director gives him the lowdown on how, but warns him no delivery until he passes this whole GMP inspection thing. He needs serious cash for his first big order. But the bank's still refusing a loan, flat out rejecting him yet again because they think he's too young. So he sells his car for cash, but turns out the supply guys immediately want way more, leaving him empty-handed. He's totally stressed. They might not make it this time, but Twong tells him not to lose hope, because who knows what's next. So, they grab a new spot and start getting it ready to finally open their seaweed shop. A big inspection's hitting soon. Tob's uncle suggests a quick bribe, but Tobbs, for once, wants to actually do things legit. So, the inspectors are totally grossed out by the cleanliness, but they don't decide right away, saying they'll get back to him. Our guy promises a total factory glow-up stat. When the fax arrives, is absolutely stoked they passed inspection. But for their very first delivery, Tobe's totally freaking out, and Twong has to be like, dude, chill out, we totally got this. Even though he's an hour late, after some serious groveling, they finally let him deliver. Fast forward 2 years, he's cleared his parents' debt, and they're all living back in their old house. His company explodes worldwide, making him, you guessed it, the planet's youngest billionaire. What a come up. If you dug this recap, smash that like and subscribe button. See you next time.